My little guy. Yeah, there we go. End of women's sports. Ooh, super scary. Super scary. It's the end. It's apocalyptic. The thumbnail for this is just awful. It's just, this is absolutely disgusting. They're portraying trans women as men. Yeah, it's just men with really weird hairs that are extremely extremely long, and they have the little mustaches, and they're happy, and they have the armpit hair, and woman's sad. Woman's sad. It's really bad. The hairs remind me of the Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, the first one, where he gets like the little hairs on his fingers so he could like grip onto things. It reminds me of that, if you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, we're gonna watch some PragerU. 5 minutes, probably will be a lot longer than that, and yeah, it's suffering time.
I've been training to be a championship sprinter since I was 8 years old.
So, if you don't recognize this lady, I covered her in an Alliance Defending Freedom video where she talks about probably the same thing. I haven't seen this video. I know Xanderhall streamed talking about it. I saw it before Xanderhall did. I saw it like when it came out. Like I saw that the video was there, and then Xanderhall streamed it that day, and I was like, damn, he got it before me, because I don't stream on Mondays. But I haven't seen this video, so I'm going into this completely blind. I have no idea what to expect. Yeah, if you don't know what Alliance Defending Freedom is, it's classified as a hate group that wants to criminalize homosexuality and other stuff. They're really bad, and this lady spoke for them. And now she's on PragerU. What a surprise. She's essentially making a career off of being bad at running and being inferior to trans women. It's really funny.
With the help of my parents, my coaches, and my teammates, I did it. By sophomore year of high school in 2018, I was one of the top 5 female high school sprinters in Connecticut.
Nice.
But then, one day, I wasn't.
Oof.
At the state championships that year, 2 people passed me.
Cool animation.
Past all of us girls, literally.
All of us
They finished
girls.
first and second in our races, dominating the field. Were they more motivated? Did they train harder? I don't think so.
I mean, how do you know? They could have. They could have. You're just gonna assume they didn't because they're not cis? That's pretty shitty.
But they did have an edge, a big one we couldn't match. They were biological boys who said they were transgender.
Holy fuck. We got it. 44 seconds in. Biological boys. This is how you get them. Every time they say biological boys, you know they're full of shit, and they don't know anything about the science of being transgender and how gender and sex are medically classified as different things. This is how you know they're scientifically illiterate. Every time they say something like biological boys or girls, I always snipe that shit. I always seek it out. I sniff it out. Oh, so good, so good.
Girls. Do you think that's fair? Males competing against females?
Yes, I do think it's fair. as long as they're within the same skill bracket and they perform similarly, yeah, there's no reason why they shouldn't compete with each other. An example to make this really easy: if you got people like what's a sport that doesn't require a lot of like skill? It would be, well, I mean, it does require skill, but not like, it doesn't rely on like physical strength or whatever. I'd say ping pong, right? You could, pretty much anyone can play ping pong, and it all just comes down to practice. Having a different body doesn't really determine your skill at ping pong, I'd say. I think that's pretty reasonable to say. If we go by this lady's logic on PragerU, a male competing against a female in ping pong is not fair just because they're male and female. That difference makes it not fair. And I think that's really weird. If the skill level is about the same and it's, you know, it's comparable, I think you could have a good competition there. And males can compete against females and females can compete against males. It's all good. Everyone can compete against everyone as long as one person is not absolutely overpowered. That's simple. To separate it based on sex alone is just really dumb.
Before you make up your mind, let me tell you a bit about what it took for me to become a top female sprinter.
You look like you were struggling to read the teleprompter there.
With my team every day after school for at least 2 hours, working to shave fractions of a second off of my time in the 100.
Okay, so you're implying that the trans women never did any of this. I think if you're willing to participate in track, you'd all be just as dedicated. I'd assume that the trans women that went to your school were also a part of these practices, right? That's pretty reasonable to assume, right? You're kind of omitting them from the story here. Kinda poopy, kinda bad, almost like piss.
And 200-meter dash. It meant not hanging out after school or going out with friends on the weekends. It meant getting up early every Saturday morning and competing all day at a meet.
You're making it sound like track is shit. You're making it sound like you don't like it. Like it's such a pain in the ass for you. Is that why you kind of gave up and started being a little bitch baby pussy woman? Is that it? Is that it? You gave up track because the trans women were better than you, and you thought it was shitty anyways, and then you decided, oh, I can make money off of this and be transphobic and help make propaganda. Is that what I'm getting at here? I mean, that could be. I don't know. Just kind of thinking.
It meant not indulging in any of the things that might cost me my dream. And here's the thing about the 2 biological males that took the top 2 girls medal.
Biological males, there you go. That's correct. You could say that. Males, that's biology, that's sex. Yeah, not a social construct. That is absolutely a sexual term. Yeah, you could say that. Good job. Good job. I clap.
In the state of Connecticut. Their times were not even good enough to qualify them to compete in the state championships on the boys' team.
Okay, so they weren't on par with cis boys. Maybe that's because their hormone levels were different and more comparable to that of a girl's hormones. Think about it, right? If they're competing in the bracket that has their skill level, that would make sense. Let me think of another example. A competitive game like Overwatch. They have a competitive mode with different skill brackets for matchmaking. So you'd have bronze, then it goes to silver, or is it bronze, gold, silver, platinum, diamond, whatever. It goes up. It wouldn't make sense to put a bronze player, someone who competes at the bronze level, in a match with a platinum player. That you don't put a bronze with a plat. That would be bad matchmaking. Wouldn't make sense. Would not be fair. You get a team of bronzes versus a team of plats. It's just they're gonna get blown out. They're not gonna have a chance. What you do is you put the people who are bronze with the bronze. In this case, if people are competing with, you know, let's say they get it done in 10 seconds, put them with the other people that do it in about 10 seconds. Don't put them with people that do it in like 5 seconds. Just don't do that. That's bad. So for her to just complain because the sexes are different, really bad. Really bad, really dumb, really smooth-brained. I feel like if we decapitated her and inspected the inside of her cranium, it would probably be hollow. I just get that feeling, you know what I'm saying?
Let me say that again in case you missed it. Their times were not good enough to qualify them for the boys' state championships.
Yes, because they were not balanced for that. Bronze players are not balanced to compete against platinum players. It's that simple.
But 2 years in a row, they won first and second place competing against the girls. All in all, these 2 biological.
Wow, people did good because they were with people that performed at their level. Oh, hello, Aaron. Well, that's the argument between skill-based matchmaking and regular matchmaking, where everything is random in-game term. I mean, if you wanted to do everything, absolutely everything random, that is another way to do it. You could have it to where it's based on your skill, or you could have it to where it's absolutely random and everyone has an equal chance of performing absolutely differently. That is another way to do it, but to arbitrarily declare that one player has to, you know, be with this certain, how would I explain it? How would I explain it in video game terminology? I don't know, people who play Genji only or something, they can only play in certain teams with a certain composition just because they play Genji, something like that. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but you might get what I'm trying to say. Like, they can only play with one type of team because of their character choice. Like, I don't think that really makes sense.
Biological males won 15 women's state championship titles. Some in the media have accused me of being a sore loser. They tell me to run harder. But the biological changes that males go through during puberty are so significant, they gain an insurmountable advantage in strength and in speed.
Well, yeah, if they don't do anything about their hormones and they just go straight through puberty, yeah, but if they alter their hormones through transitioning, which it seems like the girls that she is mentioning have done, yeah, they'd be more comparable to that of a girl. Your fat distribution changes, your muscle mass decreases, your bone structure does not change, but fat distribution and muscle mass are pretty big factors in strength and sports. And as you take estrogen, you generally get a lot weaker. It's a really big nerf to male biology, I guess. It really does reduce your strength. As someone who is currently on estrogen, yeah, I've noticed, I've only been on it for about 2 months now, and I've noticed, yeah, my strength is decreasing. I'm not as strong as I used to be, and if they're more in the level of the average girl strength, yeah, I think they should be with the girls. I think that just makes sense.
That's why boys always competed against boys and girls against girls. U.S. runner Allison Felix is an...
Then when we're talking about cis boys and cis girls, yeah, that makes sense. If the cis boys have similar levels to the cis girls, or the cis boys, like cis boys and cis boys, they all compete the same, yeah, put them together. If there's a huge difference, then separate them. But if there's a girl who's cis who competes on a similar level to that of a cis boy, I would say that girl should be allowed to compete against those other cis boys. I think that would be more fair, because her skill level would be more appropriate for that environment. And putting her against people who perform much lower than her, that wouldn't be fair.
Inspiration to me. She's the fastest female sprinter in the world. Her lifetime best for the 400 meters is 49.26 seconds.
Cool.
But based on 2018 data, nearly 300 high school boys in the US alone could beat that record. What we are talking about then is not just boys taking women's trophies, though they are. And we aren't talking about biological boys taking women's athletic scholarships, though they'll do that too. When biological boys are allowed
really
to
mad.
compete against girls...
Again, with the biological boy. Boy is a social construct. That is a gender term. It's not a sexual term. You don't use boy to describe things in the medical field. You use male. Again, just pointing out the scientific illiteracy of this woman.
Sports like track, where the differences in performance are so great, we are talking about girls getting shut out, never getting the chance to win or even compete at all. When two biological boys took the first and second...
If we look at the Alliance Defending Freedom video, the difference was like half a second that the trans women won. It was like half a second that they won in the race.
The male who finished second in the race clocked in at 7.01 seconds.
Okay, so this petty bitch is out here complaining about a 0.22 difference, if that's my math correct. I think I'm correct on that. Milliseconds. We're talking about milliseconds here, okay? She's complaining that she lost by milliseconds. and therefore trans women should be banned just because they're trans. Like, the difference in athletic ability here is not crazy. It's not anything that we should really do anything about. It's not. It's quite petty. It could have gone either way. It wasn't like they were getting like absolutely blown out. I feel like this is really being put out of proportion, and I think they realize that omitting that detail makes their story better, makes it stronger. So it's pretty Weasley. It's pretty poopy. Again, poopy. That is the word to describe this. Very poopy.
Place spots against me in the 2019 Indoor State Championship, I lost the opportunity to participate at the New England Championships.
Sorry.
I lost the chance to be scouted by top coaches, possibly even to win scholarships.
Sorry.
Right now, biological boys are being allowed to set records on
biological
the girls' team,
boys, yet
deleting
again.
girls' records, erasing the
like the fact that they used biological boys and biological males interchangeably means they just don't know what they're talking about. Oh, also, what is this face? What gonna cry? Maybe shit? Piss your pants? Maybe come? I don't think I did the meme right, but you know what I'm going at? Looks so mad. Fuming.
Achievements of actual girls and setting a standard probably no girl can meet, no matter how much she trains or how hard she tries. The reason that we have girls' sports in the first place is to give female athletes with talent, hard work, and dedication an equal opportunity to shine and be recognized.
Just implying trans people don't do any of these things when they compete in sports. Just very subtle. Very subtle.
But girls will never have that opportunity if they are forced to compete with biological boys in sports like track and field, softball, volleyball, or basketball. Women fought too hard for too long so girls like me can have the opportunity to compete on a level playing field. Maybe worst of all, when girls try to object, when we point out the truth.
It's kind of sexist of her to say that women need their own category since they can never be as good as men. That is kind of sexist. Like I'm saying, I think that you should probably just not separate people based on sex, and that it should just be based on skill-based matchmaking, or just make it absolutely random. That would be the most fair thing to do, because then we wouldn't be complaining about this stuff.
That biological differences in strength and speed between boys and girls are massive and real, we're called bigots. Administrators, teachers, coaches, and other students tell us.
I mean, you're not just pointing out that there's differences between the sexes. You're saying that the fact that a trans woman was half a second faster than you in a race means that her victory was not granted, and if it was a cis woman that beat you by the same time, you wouldn't be complaining about it. And that's why you're a bigot, because you're targeting trans women, and you're clearly making a career out of going on propaganda outlets like Alliance Defending Freedom and Prager to complain about it and be a little bitch.
Us to just keep quiet and take it. We are told a girl's place is to be seen and not heard. Well, we won't be silenced. We are fighting back.
Wow.
With two
feminism.
other top female runners in Connecticut, I have filed a federal lawsuit under Title IX to protect the rights of women and girls to a fair competition on a level playing field. Please don't turn your backs on us, America. This isn't about gender identity. It's about fair play. I'm Selena Soul for Prager University.
You're a little cunt. Oh, here's Alliance Defending Freedom. Here's their thing. It's basically a bunch of rich conservative people who have money to make lawsuits for dumb people. Also, PragerU is getting called out for being propaganda, and they need to make a fundraiser thing to combat it. Let's look at comments. I'm actually going to remove my avatar for a moment. Is this a One Piece? Is this from One Piece? I can't tell. Ironically, those who said they support women's rights are actually 100% behind this madness. This just implies trans women aren't women. poopy, bad. I don't know what it is about anime people and being shitty often on the internet. This person's triggered. Feminists not talking about this. The feminist position would be to say that trans women are women and that they should compete with other women that are of a similar skill level. This shouldn't be a political issue. It's unfair. Okay, you're just mad. Devastating, sick, delusional world. Okay, person says trans women are men, pretty much. Men and women are not the same. Men can be women when they transition, and women can be men when they transition. There's a big difference. They are no longer men or women when they do the transition, so therefore they are not the same. You just don't understand how gender works. Alright, yeah, science deniers taking over sports now. There's actually a lot of science behind trans people. You should look into it. You've probably never heard of it, but you should probably look into that. Alphabet people. You can't spell bigotry. Your opinion is invalid. Testosterone doesn't care about your feelings. Believe science. Well, we obviously know this person just watches Ben Shapiro with their brain shut off. If you take hormone blockers, you're suppressing your testosterone, and if you take estrogen in tandem with that, like I am, you have more estrogen in your body than testosterone, and then you don't have to worry about testosterone impacting your feelings or whatever you're going on about. Yeah, so dumb people, bad stuff. Prager, you bad. I don't know, I hope they get shut down.